So what do I think of Chandler? Okay, so when people are considering moving to the East Valley and they're trying to determine where they want to live, this is one of the most common questions I get. And the thing is, North and South Chandler are so different. And I wouldn't write off Chandler until you really understand or have experienced both sides of the city. So for example, I had one client, she was relocating here and she drove through the north part of Chandler. And when we were starting her home search, she was like, I absolutely do not want to do Chandler, not really my vibe. But then when she was talking about what she really wanted at a home, I was like, oh, I really think you should check out South Chandler. And she was a little hesitant at first, but we ended up touring a home there. She loved it, fell in love, bought the home, and now she lives there. And I wouldn't say one part of Chandler is better than the other. They're just very different. So let's talk about it. Crime, school, home prices, all that stuff. But let me give you a really brief summary of North versus South Chandler. Okay, the north part of Chandler, it's a little bit older, a little bit more condensed. I wouldn't say it's an urban feel, but it does feel a little bit more like a city, where on the south side, little newer construction, more of a suburban feel, but not quite as much going on as far as like shopping and dining. So coming from more of a practical standpoint when comparing these parts of Chandler is location and its orientation in Phoenix Metro as a whole. Now, the north part of Chandler, you're going to have a lot more highway access. You have the 101, you have the 60 not too far north, and then of course you have the 202 and then the I-10 on the very west side. Now, having close highway access makes it so much easier to get around Phoenix Metro. So if you have to get to the airport a lot, or maybe your work is in Tempe or Scottsdale or Phoenix, North Chandler is going to be a lot more convenient. But if you're in South Chandler, and when I say South Chandler, I mean anything below the 202, you are going to be further on the outskirts of Phoenix Metro as a whole. Now, if you're really close to the 202, it's pretty easy to get around. But if you're on the south side, or even like that southeast side of Chandler, I mean, you're basically in Queen Creek. Not literally, but you're pretty close. So it's going to add like an extra 25 minutes to get to the airport if you're really that far away from the highway. So if you work locally, or your kids go to school locally, it's not an issue. But if you are having to commute to more central Phoenix or have to go to the airport frequently, just make sure you're taking that into account before you buy a home and those commute times are okay for you. So the next thing I want to talk about when considering North or South Chandler are what I call quality of life indicators. So these are like parks, things to do, dining, shopping. So in the north part of Chandler, of course, you have downtown Chandler. If you haven't been there, you need to check it out. They have, aside from just restaurants, good restaurants, they have a farmer's market, a lot of events going on there. And of course, we also have the Chandler Fashion Center, which is the biggest indoor mall in the East Valley, actually. Now, on the south side, you do have some shopping centers that have restaurants within these centers, but it's definitely more chain restaurants and not as many options as you have in North Chandler. And as far as parks or recreational spaces, on that north side, you have Desert Breeze Park, which is the biggest public park in that north part of Chandler. And there's a lot of smaller parks like within different neighborhoods throughout the city, or that north part. But I would say that south part of Chandler, you have a lot more options. You have Tumbleweed Park, which is a huge park. There's tons of sports fields, playgrounds, rec center, have concerts and other events. You have Veterans Oasis Park, which is a great nature center, place to hang out when the temperatures are a little bit cooler. And then you also have the canal trail, the bike trail that goes through the south part of Chandler, and a couple other nature centers, and then also a handful of golf courses. And the other thing to consider too is there's a lot more organized subdivisions on the south side of Chandler. They do have HOAs, but what comes with that is you have a lot of these beautiful green spaces and parks, throughout these organized subdivisions. Now let's talk about schools. So Chandler Unified School District, the whole city, was actually ranked number 2 in the Phoenix metro area on niche.com. Now, there are tons of schools within Chandler, but if we look at the 3 main high schools, you have Hamilton and Basha. They're on the south side. Hamilton was A+, and then Basha was A. And then Chandler High School, which was on the north side, that actually received a ranking of A-. So if you're concerned about school rankings, I would definitely check out either niche.com or greatschools.org is another website, just to to see what these rankings are and how they receive these rankings. So let's talk about crime. So when we look at resources like crimegrade.org, this is actually a good website because it'll give you kind of a broad perspective of Phoenix Metro actually, and then it color codes things for crime rate per capita per 1,000 residents. So when we first look at this, we can see that there are more crimes reported per 1,000 residents on that north side, which isn't terribly surprising because it is a little bit more condensed living and you're also closer to more of the central part of Phoenix Metro. Now, another great website to use is communitycrimemap.com. This will actually open up a map and you can go into a specific area and actually see what the emergency calls were. So was it like a petty crime or was it something, more violent and something that you should be aware of? Now let's talk about home prices because this can greatly impact which area may work for you or not. So something to consider is as far as types of homes, you're going to find a little bit of everything in both North and South Chandler. There's really no hard, fast rules, but in general, that north part of Chandler, it is an older or more established area, so you are going to find some older construction. And with older neighborhoods, it's more common to find neighborhoods without an HOA. So if you're looking for a neighborhood that has no HOA, you're going to have a lot more luck on that north side of Chandler. The other thing too is if you're looking for more of an entry level home, like you're a first time home buyer maybe, or you're looking for a condo or a townhome, you're also going to have a lot more options in the north part of Chandler. But at the same time, you'll also find a lot of luxury listings, or there's actually a handful of homes that are on larger lots and are zoned for either horses or other animals. So you will see a little bit of everything. Now on the south side, you are going to find more higher priced homes, definitely more luxury listings, a lot more neighborhoods with gated communities, and generally a lot newer homes. A lot of the construction occurred in the early 2000s onward. And if you're looking for more of an organized subdivision or master planned community that has amenities, there's definitely more options on the south side as well. And it's also predominantly single family homes. So if you're looking for like a townhome or a condo, not as many options. But let's talk about pricing of homes. So on the south side, it technically is more expensive there. The median sales price right now on that south side is about $625,000. And then on the north side, it's closer to $500,000. But you also need to remember on that south side, we have bigger homes. There's more luxury listings down there. But when you actually look at price per square foot, it's not necessarily cheaper on the north side. There's just more affordable or entry-level homes on that north side, so it brings the median sales price down. But if you're interested in learning more about different neighborhoods in either parts of Chandler, definitely check out this playlist right here. I break down some of the different neighborhoods. Thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.